Hello everyone, welcome to Cookies Enable. I am your host, Will, and hopefully you guys can hear me loud and clear right now. I did have a little bit of an audio glitch. We did have to split our show up, as you can tell. Andrew is not beside me right now, and Andrew is my co-host and editor of the show. For those of you that are tuning in for the first time, I appreciate you all, and for those of you that are returning, hopefully everything sounds great so far. Now, we did record earlier today, and my computer decided to do an update, I think apparently while we were doing the show. And whenever it does an update, it messes with my audio settings. So unfortunately, everybody, I did my best to repair it, but it's still very scratchy. It's only while I am talking, so you can totally blur me out. But Andrew sounds loud and clear, and luckily he's doing the majority of the talking for the beginning of the episode. So sorry. Again, forewarning, this is not the prettiest our show has ever been. It's not the worst either, though, I will tell you that. So I'm glad that I sound loud and clear so far, at least on my initial test so far has been coming through loud and clear. I hear everything okay. So I'm just, again, really ashamed of my recording earlier, and I please beg of you to forgive us for the little scratchinesses that you're going to be hearing. So enjoy the video, everybody, and I will be seeing you in about 20 minutes here, so enjoy. Okay, so as you can see, I have Andrew here. It is very early in the day at 3 p.m. and so I'm still technically live because this is coming to you live. But Andrew is here with us because he has to work later today and has some really interesting space news today. I'm actually excited to dive into this. And we usually start with SpaceX, so why don't we start there?
Yeah. Quickly, again, work schedules. I've been working Wednesday nights, so we do this pre-recorded segment early in the day, which is fine. I don't mind it.
Right.
Will still responds to your comments.
Absolutely. I'm
and
still
your
watching
questions.
live.
Oh, yeah, and he's doing it live.
Yeah.
We just pre-record this so I can be a part of it, just because I love it.
Right. And we love you. Hooray!
Also, this is the last week you're going to see my red hair.
Ooh, new hair. Okay.
Tomorrow I've got an appointment. My whole head, getting it trimmed, cleaned up, and we are going safety vest green.
Oh, wow. I like it. I think I'm really going to like that. Interesting.
I kind of wish that we weren't in the middle of the pandemic and glow bowling still existed, because I would light up like a Christmas tree.
Oh, my God.
It'll be fun. It will be fun to see how it looks. Keep an eye next week. Maybe we'll share a photo of it on our Twitter, just so you guys can get a sneak preview.
Definitely.
Because it's going to be fun.
Awesome.
I'm excited. Anyway, SpaceX.
SpaceX.
So we saw their 2 launches.
Yes.
Those went well.
Yeah.
They had a little bit of a problem recently, though.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. The last Starlink mission. Now, when they launched Starlink and they released the satellites, it takes a few days for all those satellites to perform some tiny burns to get them into their proper orbit.
Absolutely.
Now, they do orbit, it was a little over 500 kilometers above the Earth, I think, or miles, I can't remember. Either way, it is higher than low Earth orbit, but it is lower than geostationary orbit, which a lot of your GPS satellites run.
Yep.
The main reason is it's communication speed, it's latency.
Exactly.
If you're providing internet, you can't have that high of a latency, because then it takes forever for pages to load or for data to transmit to and from your devices. But we just experienced a pretty sizable solar storm.
Yes.
And that's just, ions being thrown from the sun. This happens all the time.
This does happen all the time. And we are coming into a new cycle of the sun. I think it's every 7 to 12 years it goes into a dormant and then a hot cycle. So we're going back into that hot cycle. We're just getting out of the dormancy stage. So this solar flare I'm showing you guys is from 2016 or 2017. But it's pretty much what just happened. So
yeah, and I mean they can disrupt communications sometimes.
Absolutely.
There's the fear that one that was big enough could basically shut down all satellite communications, which it is possible.
It is possible. This is very possible.
The chances of it happening are very, very low.
Right. They're almost impossible.
This one, however, it wasn't the radiation that shut down the satellites.
No.
It was those ionizing.
Right.
It creates almost like an atmospheric wind.
Right.
At the altitude that they were at, which made it harder for those tiny thrusters. And I mean, they're using
little tiny like gas thrusters.
Basically, but that when you don't have that much atmosphere, even so, if you're that high and there's no atmosphere, it means that tiny thrusters can do the job, but it also means that tiny fluctuations in perturbations can counteract that. So unfortunately, 40 of the 49 satellites were unable to reach their intended orbit. Basically, they're going to deorbit and burn up in the atmosphere. Yeah. Nothing's going to fall. It's not going to create space debris. So that's a good sign.
This is a great news.
Yeah, but it was a little unfortunate. I mean,
it's sad.
But
I mean, what we pointed out before is that, not that they just had this launch, which is kind of the shame that they just got up there. They didn't even get into orbit yet, and then they were pretty much put out of commission by the sun. So that sucks, but they still have 1,900 operational satellites still floating around up there. So they're almost halfway to their goal within, a year and a half or two, give or take. I mean, it hasn't been very long, really.
With the pace that SpaceX has been launching these satellites and how they're rapidly they're making that pace faster and faster each year, I think we're going to see it sooner than later.
Yeah.
And again, space is dangerous. Space wants to kill you.
Yeah, it is.
So we're not surprised. It's not. Oh my God, we're screwed. Space, Starlink is dead. It just sucks, but I mean, it was notable news.
And this may be news you might be hearing. You might be hearing this more often in the coming years. Again, we're just starting this new cycle, so we got another 7 to 10 years to go, pretty much a decade of solar flares from the sun. Now they're not all going to hit Earth. Most of them actually don't. But the few that do usually don't do much damage other than maybe planes might have to drop to lower altitudes so they don't get affected by the radiation and or have electronical failures while they're flying, as well as satellites can sometimes be disrupted and or shut off. It did say, I think they said in the article that 80% of the Starlink satellites were somehow altered by that, but are still operational. So they may have been maybe bumped a tiny bit out of their orbit or whatever, but Andrew pointed out, they're just going to push right back to where they were. They're fine, no big deal. Or some minor system was probably shut off because of radiation or magnetism or something from the flare, and voila, now they just reset it. It comes back to normal.
Exactly. I mean, it does give us some really beautiful auroras,
yes,
northern lights. I mean, that's what the aurora is. It's radiation and ions from the sun interacting with our atmosphere.
Right.
So, you know,
Yep.
shit luck for them. What
Too
can you
bad,
do?
so sad,
It was
I guess.
unexpected.
Right.
But now that it happened, I think in future launches, they're going to keep a closer eye on that and make
yeah.
sure
absolutely.
that the solar flares are subdued
Right.
at the time of launch or within the days after launch so they can get it out there properly.
Yeah, the last
we'll
thing
see
you
what
want to do
happens.
is get caught right in the middle of a flare, and that almost happened with this launch. I mean, if they had been a couple of days later, they might have launched right into the flare and not even have known it. You know what I mean? So that's interesting.
Exactly.
But cool. Now, on the same topic
and,
of what stars kind of
going crazy. Scientists just observed for the first time in real-time imaging a supernova. We've known about them, but we finally got to well, we haven't seen the official images yet. What Will's showing you is going to be an artist's rendering.
Is all artist rendering of what they found.
None of these images are real, just because we haven't seen them yet. They haven't been released. But for 130 days before the supernova, they were paying attention to the star, because you usually see it start, like the star, when you're watching it, what you're seeing changes. It gets kind of dim, it gets really bright, and then boom, supernova. So they watched it for 130 days and were able to take imaging of it actually going supernova, which is incredible.
That is so incredible. I mean, we've never had any luck like that before. We either just miss it, or it's like a new star or quasar or some kind of stage in there, you know, but we've never really seen it actually implode on itself. We had the math and the theories, but that was all we had.
And we knew that. Yeah, we knew what happened, but we had never caught it on film, basically.
Exactly.
Until now. So, I mean, these observations came from 2 of our telescopes in Hawaii, which is a very good place. You know, these observatories are at the top of mountains in dark sky areas, so they have some of the best visibility.
Absolutely, yeah. And you're in Hawaii, you're like in the middle of nowhere.
So it was the Pan Stars Observatory on, I'm probably going to butcher this. I apologize, everybody, but Haleakala, I'm assuming.
I'm sorry, I don't know that one either.
Hawaiian is a fun language. Haleakala, I'm assuming. I probably said that with a bit of an accent, but that, and then the well-known Keck Observatory on Mauna Kea in Hawaii. So, no, both of them, they're part of what they call the Young Supernova Experiment. They've been looking for this.
Right.
So, you know,
for a long time.
Get some early signs. Yeah, knowing what we do about star life cycles, you can get some early signs of when something might go supernova. There's, I believe, a star in Orion that last year or the year before, but recently, they thought maybe going supernova because they were detecting differences in its brightness.
But wasn't it just an orbit of another planet or something? Or
no, it wasn't like something occluding its brightness. It was the star itself changing.
Okay, sorry.
The thing is, that can happen in late-stage stars no matter what.
Right.
But we thought, well, it possibly could be signs of a supernova eventually. And now, I mean, there's telescopes everywhere aimed at that thing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
To make sure. Because if we can catch that, that'll be great. That would be one you could actually see on your own.
Right,
you could
exactly.
like, you look at the night sky, and one of those stars in Orion is going to get dimmer, and then one day it's going to be just fireworks.
Yeah,
basically.
Pretty much.
So there's a reason we're studying this, and lo and behold, we finally got to view one,
Yeah.
which is an amazing discovery. I'm excited. There's going to be a lot of science we can pull
my
from
gosh,
that.
so much,
Even, oh yeah, even just looking at all of the spectrographic data that's coming in, we're going to learn a lot more about. I mean, if you can do all the math and hypothesize what happens as much as you want,
right.
but and you'll get a lot of data knowing what we do about the laws that govern this physical reality.
Right.
But when you get to see one, like photographs of a star exploding,
Right.
that gives you a lot more information, and we can pull a lot more data from that and use that in other studies. So I'm excited to see what comes from that.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to finally see the real images when they're released.
Me too. I'm hoping it's not too crazy, but we'll see. I know it's going to be probably pretty close to what we're already seeing in this artistic reproduction here. It's kind of, it shows the star exploding, and then it kind of zooms out to the supernova kind of expanding throughout that galaxy, which is really cool how they did that. But I can't wait to see the actual telescope representation of how this looks.
Yeah.
I mean, this is going to be so cool.
I mean, the artists they hire to do this are kind of guided by the math and the scientists. So what they show us is it's very similar to, I know we've talked about it multiple times, to the black hole from Interstellar.
Yes, exactly, yes.
They programmed the rendering engine that they used and the graphics engines for that movie with the math that we knew about how black holes work.
And voila.
And said, spit out what you think it would actually look like.
And that's what it did.
And I mean, they consulted with Kip Thorne, which is he's a world-renowned astrophysicist.
Yeah.
So he had a lot, but once papers were written about that.
Yes,
that said that.
Yes, yeah, big one.
But then a few years after that, when we actually got the first images of a black hole,
yeah, we talked about that.
It looked very similar.
It was almost identical.
These artists aren't just, yeah, I mean, there is a bit of artistic license,
Absolutely,
that's normal. But when that so directly ties to what is in reality, these artists are trying to figure out how to convey to us the most accurate representation of what they've been told.
Right.
It isn't just, show me what a supernova looks like. No, this is what we know.
Yeah. And here's the math.
So take that
this
and make
is what
it look
like.
And they're digital artists. They're plugging these equations and algorithms and all this math into their rendering engines and trying to figure it out.
Absolutely, yeah.
There's probably, the colors might not be perfect, but
I mean, it's gonna be a little off. Like when it shows the sun exploding, it's kind of like fireballs. There's no fire in space, so that's wrong. You know what I mean? There's fire, but
pretty accurate because
plasma, arcing. I don't think it'll actually look like fiery flames, like they had. But again, we'll see.
It's going to be a lot of hot burning gas. So I'm excited to see when hopefully we get to see these actual images.
Right. Me too. I'm excited, and hopefully soon, probably in a month or two. I'm sure they got to compile crap out. You said 130 days of photos. My God, I can only imagine how that's going to take probably another 130 days to compile. So it could be the end of the year.
It's a lot of data. It's a lot of images. And they have to examine them and then find some way to compress them into a file small enough to show us. Because, these places, you're talking server rooms, full of hard drives.
Absolutely. Probably petaflops of
and
data.
You can't just, you can't just, combine that into a video and put it on YouTube that easily.
No.
It takes some time, and that's the least of their concern.
Right, that is definitely a small concern.
It's going to be sent to some guy after they're done, like, okay, now let's put it out because the important science is done.
Right.
So that's what we're waiting for, but it'll happen.
Okay.
So we're going to see that this year. We'll see James Webb take his first photos in about 4 or 5 months. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, June, July.
It's going to be a fun year for astronomy.
I know, I'm excited.
Also, I have my new camera. I have my tripod. And once I tried to take a few photos last night, but we have a half moon right now and tons of snow.
Yep.
And even with a cloud or two in the sky,
too much.
It is not the best conditions. You don't get to see a lot.
It's either complete darkness and then probably just rays of light everywhere.
Yeah. You need a new moon or no moon.
Yes, one or the other.
A steady platform.
Especially
and that's when you get the really cool shots.
Because you're just refracting and then everything's absorbing everywhere in between. So, yeah, that's a problem.
Yes.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So, we got some awesome memes for you guys this week. Andrew found some really awesome ones. And some oldies but goodies, I guess you could say. And I found some good ones too. So let's start with yours. I think this was the first one here. Yes, this is the one I wanted to start with. This is the old school cathode ray tube LAN party basement.
Yeah. Now, if any of you grew up in the 90s, you remember probably not doing this specifically.
Yeah.
But we all played Counter-Strike. We all went to LAN parties.
Right.
But this image, it's the best thing. A guy duct taped to a railing in a basement.
Oh my gosh, I love this.
So he doesn't have just playing the game on his computer.
Yeah. It was like they ran out of space. If you see, there's like no space below him or beside the other people. So they're like, let's just make a hammock.
Hell, LAN parties aren't even a thing anymore because of internet capabilities. There was a time I remember they made carrying what do you call like an
Alienware case?
Well, not even the case, like a strap contraption that you would wrap around your case so you could lift it, and it would have a little side slot for your keyboard, so you could just carry it wherever you want.
Yeah.
I remember those days. There were days I worked at a place called the Geek Group,
right?
Which any of you in Grand Rapids probably remember.
Yeah.
More likely because they got into some issues with the law.
Yeah, unfortunately. I don't think the building's even there anymore.
Oh, the building's there, but they got in trouble with Homeland
Security.
No, I
mean, they literally just tore it down. There's no building there anymore.
Really?
Yeah. It's gone, unfortunately. I thought they were going to redo something, but now they might turn it into a park.
Well, it was an old building, but they ran into some issues with Homeland Security. Apparently there was some Bitcoin money laundering. I don't know.
Oh man.
Yeah, but at our old facility with them, we had a 20-foot projector.
Ooh.
We had a projector and a 20-foot screen.
Nice.
And we would play Halo, and we would play, what was it, Crimson Skies, a flying game,
yes.
on a 20-foot screen.
Oh my God!
Those old days, we would host LAN parties. We never duct taped anybody like that.
I was gonna say, yeah, I never duct taped anybody like that. We did. Okay, I should say I had friends that did go out and duct tape a friend to a football goalpost. Sorry. Mm-hmm. Wow, totally brain farted there. But yeah, but I don't have pictures of that, and I don't know if I have permission to share that other than the story. And I'm not going to give any names.
I've seen
you know who you are.
I've seen that. There was somebody actually tracked down the guy that was duct taped up there.
Oh, really?
And it was the second attempt to duct tape him up there because they tried the first time. And he said it was too painful.
Oh, God.
So what they did eventually, after the first attempt, is they put pillows under him, and then his friends lifted him, so he had a cushion, so he could be comfortable playing there for a while.
Oh my God,
this was
awesome.
The thing. There, I will Google that. I'm going to look into that, and we'll share the original Reddit thread where the original guy talks about it. It's so cool.
Yeah, send me that link later. I'll make sure that's in the comments below for everybody for sure.
Yeah.
Wow.
So for you people around the age of 30, that's some nostalgia for you.
Absolutely. Wow.
It's always fun.
Okay, the next one here for you is kind of a shout out to SpongeBob / Star Wars. I freaking love this. I can't even look at the photo because it's so funny. And I gotta read it.
Well, there are so many memes out there about Anakin killing the younglings, the young Jedi prospects. But
I just love his face.
Like
are you ready, kids? Like, he seriously looks so mad in that photo. Whoever photoshopped that, man, they did a great job, I gotta say.
And I don't care about spoilers because that movie's been out for many, many years.
Yeah.
He goes to the Jedi Temple and he slaughters all of these child Jedi prospects.
Yes. Yeah.
So
if that spoiled the movie
if you're
for
a
you,
Star Wars fan, you get it.
Like, seriously, shame if that spoiled the movie for you, because you've had plenty of time to see it. You know, maybe some of you haven't, but
Speaking of
out
Star
there.
Wars, quickly. Well, speaking of Star Wars and Disney Plus, I'm not going to spoil anything, but if any of you have watched the finale of The Mandalorian, The Book of Boba Fett, holy crap.
Yeah, I have not.
I watched it today.
I haven't watched any of that series yet. I've been watching all the other ones. I caught up on a bunch of other ones. I'm trying to get through Raising Dion Season 2.
No, dude, it's 7 episodes. Watch it. It's amazing. And the end, I'm watching. I'm like, please let this happen. Please let this happen. And some of it did, but not in the way I expected.
Sure.
But it was still fantastic.
Okay.
And
I'm sure I'm gonna love it. It's not that I'm not. It's just that I'm already watching too many other things. I'm trying not to get confused. They're kind of blurring together a little bit. So. Anyway, so I got 2 more for you. This one, I love Sheldon. Everybody loves Sheldon. This show is no longer on TV, and this is not spoiling anything for you. For those of you that don't watch The Big Bang Theory, this is Sheldon trying to, really getting sucked into Netflix. So it says, when you're watching one more episode on Netflix before going to bed, and then something interesting happens, and it shows him, like, getting off his stool and kind of, like, crawling towards the TV, like, I don't need sleep, I need answers!
Yep.
I freaking love this, because this is what happens to me every time. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go to bed after this. I'm so tired, I can barely hold my eyes open. And then, like, not even 60 seconds later, I'm like, what is happening? Go faster, move it faster. What? Next episode.
I'm gonna hate myself, I'm gonna watch. There are some shows that rope you in like that.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
Or even movies. Last night, actually, that's pretty prescient. Last night, I was feeling kind of tired.
Okay.
And I was, after Andy goes to bed, I'll watch my YouTube, watch later playlist.
Sure.
And I had one, and it was Therapist Reacts to Coco. To the Pixar movie Coco.
Oh, man.
And I'm thinking, this could be interesting because there is so much, intergenerational trauma in Coco, and they deal with so many deep subjects.
For those of you that have not seen Coco,
if you have not seen Coco, watch it.
It should be Disney Plus. I mean, that is a Disney movie, if I remember correctly. So.
No, it is, because halfway through that video, I said, I can't do this. I need to watch it.
Yeah, it's on there.
And I was already tired. But then I watched the entire movie.
Oh, God.
Again.
It's a great movie. There's so much visually going on, too. Oh.
It is one of the most gorgeous movies Pixar's ever put out.
I think so,
and one
too.
of the most heartfelt.
Yeah,
I've seen it 3 times, and by the end, I'm just a puddle of tears.
Oh, God. In a good way.
Very, very cathartic. But at the end, I'm sitting there trying to clean myself up, blowing my nose. Andy wakes up, and he goes, are you okay?
Of course. Because, you are.
I kind of look at him, he said, you blew your nose. I didn't know if you were sick. I said, no.
It is a great movie,
I
though.
just watched Coco and I'm trying to calm down because no matter how many times you watch it, you just cry.
Yeah,
So
everybody
yeah,
thought Encanto was good, which is a great movie, by the way. Coco, I
I
think, is
haven't
actually
seen it yet. I
even
want
better.
to.
It is a great movie. It's very Disney, though, if you know what I mean. You know, it's just
Well, to me,
Disney.
even just even watching the previews, it feels like it was Disney's answer to
Yes,
Coco.
yes, it is.
Even though Disney technically owns
They do.
Pixar, it's like they try to compete,
They
but
do.
they can't
They
compete.
can't. I mean, they did a great job, but it's not. It's not Coco. Anyway, so I got one
No,
last one here for you guys. Now this one kind of sums up the last like 3 years. Like, you have three or two classic movies here. You've got Grease, which is the top box, and then you have oh God, of course it's gonna slip my mind.
oh, that's Pulp Fiction,
Pulp
dude.
Fiction, thank you. Thank you. My God, I
Yeah.
couldn't think of it. So you got Pulp Fiction are the second two, the middle and the bottom picture here. So in 2019, you got Grease. Everything's great. We're dancing. Everything's awesome. I mean, we're not looking amazing, as you can tell. She doesn't look very happy. She's not 100%, about going into 2020. And then you get to 2020, and we don't even want to talk to each other anymore. And then you get
Well,
to
it's not even
2021, the
that.
car is all covered in guts and like, you're all blown up. Everybody looks terribly
Well,
shaggy.
well, that's the thing. Eh, in the leaving 2020 bit, that's after like they're going back after a lot of drugs.
Oh my gosh, yes. So many.
But the bottom one is also from Pulp Fiction. That's after they accidentally
Yep.
um, blow the head off of
I don't remember the guy's
Marvin.
name.
Marvin.
Marvin, yes.
Yeah, because he's
It's been a
talking to
minute.
him with the gun, and that his reaction afterward is, oh shit, I shot Marvin in the face. Then they have to clean it up.
I just, if you haven't seen Pulp Fiction, pretty sure that is on HBO Max right now or Netflix. It's on one of the two. And I know Grease
One of the two,
is
yeah.
on Disney Plus. Again, a lot of Disney Plus movies today.
Never been a huge fan of Grease.
I haven't either.
But
They've
Pulp
redone it a
Fiction,
bunch of
hands down,
times.
is an amazing.
It's the
Yeah.
same story over and over again. The music is actually the best part about it. Is if you've never heard the Grease music, it is very 60s, awesome. But other than that, the plot is very basic. You're going to be filling in the blanks as you go, no problem. It's not like there's a twist or anything at the end. It was a classic and it will remain one, but that's as far as it goes. So, anyway, everybody, thank you for tuning in. I will have a few more topics here in just a second for you. And thank you, Andrew, for stopping by. I very much appreciate it.
Always.
And we will see you next week, Andrew. And stick around, everybody. I'll be back in just a second. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. Hopefully my audio is much more smooth and I don't sound as choppy as I was before. I can't even simulate how bad that was. So again, I'm really sorry about that. I've been doing my best to make sure my audio is clean and clear for you guys. And my last couple of topics here are pretty interesting. Speaking of clean and clear stuff, what if I told you that there could be a big game changer for CO2 reduction in one simple device? Well, the University of Delaware has come up with that solution, and here we have this wonderful, awesome little, I don't know, it's a little like canister device. It's a little circular can. I've got a few other pictures that will demonstrate what this thing looks like. So, essentially, this device takes in regular outside air and filters in hydrogen, and then an electric current goes through the inner tube, and this forces all the CO2 in the outside air to pull apart and separate. And that way you have fresh oxygen with no CO2 in it coming out and just CO2 coming out the other side. So you have two exhausts and two inputs. So you're putting in outside air and hydrogen, and you're getting out clean oxygen and CO2 as a byproduct. And this actually is generating electricity as a fuel cell. So the University of Delaware has been working on fuel cell technology for cars and all kinds of devices, planes, trains, automobiles, kind of thing. And fuel cell technology is really awesome, but it is definitely had some struggles. And that is when you're trying to take an electrical chemical and convert it into regular electricity. And so that's not as easy, or not as it's not as easy as it sounds. That is for sure. But these guys have found a way. Here's the little contraption here. Now this little guy, straight up, is that little tiny circle you see in the corner. That is the actual device. So it's about the size of, I think they said like a thermos, and it can be as small as a 12-ounce can. These things can be added to almost any device we currently have that is currently operating and functioning normally, like cars, planes, trains, and automobiles can all take this device and can use it to actually pull CO2 from the air and store it in a tank. And then you can release that at a change station, just like a gas station. So instead of just filling up, you might be dumping a fluid out as well, or a gas in this case, which would be CO2. So this is a really cool, unique idea that was almost accidental for them to step on, again, because they were just trying to make it more efficient in the whole releasing the electricity from the hydrogen. And they realized that CO2 was one of their problems. But when they put a little electricity in there, it's essentially like this static charge that pulls away the CO2 and leaves the oxygen and hydrogen there for consumption, essentially, and or release, which is really cool. So this could be a huge game changer for a lot of new devices coming out in the future, and could make our planet a lot cleaner all in the process too. So very cool technology. Thank you, University of Delaware. Check my sources below if you would like more information. And this is a very technical topic, so I'm sure most of you will probably pass on learning more, but definitely check out the links below. I will post those after the show for you guys. So I have two last topics for you here. Oh, what is that? So this second to last topic here is about truly random numbers. Now, what you probably don't know about computers and technology these days is that they don't actually have the ability to generate truly random numbers. If I were to take some dice right now and roll them, that would actually have a better probability of being random than anything a computer could generate. And that's because computers use algorithms as well as key numbers or keystrokes to generate random numbers. Now, those aren't usually random. It's more like a gigantic table of numbers, and then, from there, they're just cycled through. So kind of think of it like going to the casino, and you have the giant roulette, and that thing has millions and millions of computations to go through before it starts repeating a pattern. But if you watch closely enough, you could probably find a pattern and start catching on when to play and when not to play, just because, again, it's not truly random. It's not actually spinning randomly every single time. But these researchers have actually found a way to do just that. They have found a way to technically hold an electron in one position and then at the same time spin it randomly, and this will throw off charges at different intervals. And these different charges can generate completely different numbers, up to 10 million digits, apparently. Wow. That's a lot of digits. So it's not just like a couple random numbers, it's a lot of random numbers, like a lot. And this could drastically change technology and how it functions, especially when producing probability and coming up with statistics for us. It's already pretty accurate, but it would be even more accurate if you can give a truly random situation. Now, we do have some tools out there like this, but they're extremely hard to manufacture, and they're not really truly random in the sense as like rolling the dice like you'd find in nature, where random things happen all the time. So this is an actual example of the thing, and if you look really closely to that little dot in the corner, you can actually see that the little tiny electron spinning, and it's outputting at different times and intervals, and again, different charges and different spins thrown in different directions mean different numbers and different outputs, which are completely random. So unfortunately, it might be really hard to beat some games on computerized games in the future, especially when they're using random cursors and or keys to generate numbers you might be out of luck. Or bring your dice with you guys, because that is going to be a tricky situation. But again, check my sources below if you guys want to know more about this awesome new technology that could be coming to a device near you. Probably would be in your next couple of phones in the next few years here. So speaking of phones, for my last topic, you may know that as of today, the Samsung Ultra S22 and its counterparts are available to be pre-ordered on the Samsung website. So here is the advertisement for the S22 Samsung Ultra, which is not much different than the S21, which again is not why I'm going to be talking about it today. I'm just going to be mentioning it here. I might bring it up a little bit more next week. I'm not 100% sure. It isn't a terrible phone. Apparently they've improved the camera sensors to gather more light. I don't necessarily know how they did that. They also included the S Pen into the design, and they made the Ultra version look more like the Note that they discontinued 2 years ago. So this is kind of they're calling it a rule breaker. Really, the only drastic change you're going to see between this phone and the S21 Ultra is the processor that is inside. Is a 4 nanometer processor. It's the first one ever coming out of Snapdragon. So I'm excited to see how this does. Hopefully it comes out really great, and I think this will be definitely a good grabber for the people that have been waiting for that Note replacement. This is definitely a good go. So take a look at the links below after the show here, guys. But that is pretty much it for this week. It was a short and sweet little episode. Again, I want to say how sorry I am about the audio issues. Hopefully everything's coming through clear for you guys tonight. And I will definitely see you guys next time. I want to say thank you to everybody that did tune in today, and give a shout out to all of our comments below, as well as check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and the works, since we are all on there as well. And keep checking back, because we should have some new episodes for you guys in the coming weeks, and I am super excited for what we got for you guys. So thank you for tuning in again. I appreciate y'all. I know I learned something new, and I hope you guys did too. I'll see you guys next time. Take it easy.